Hello, welcome back to Renegade GCM. Today we're going to be going over the deck tech video for the green purple limb Odyssey leader from OP09. So she is a 4 life 5k leader where her abilities are your characters enter play as rested and activate main once per turn. You may rest 3 of your Dawn to set up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested, then play a cost 5 or lower Odyssey type character from your hand. So this is a new archetype as far as support wise in OP09. We did get Odyssey cards before, but they were like red, so not really useful. All right, so this is a Odyssey slash Straw Hat build. So up first we got our 4-drop 5,000 power Sanji from EVO1 with 2,000 counter. It is Film and Straw Hat Crew. Has Dawn 1 your turn. For every 3 rested Dawn on your field, this character gains 1,000 power. So this is a nice mid to late game beater. At worst case, it's a 2k counter. We are a ramp deck at its core with Lim's ability, ramping us a rested Dawn every time we use her ability. We are ramping for the 9-drop 9,000 power Zoro, Straw Hat Crew from OP06. He essentially attacks 3 times. When attacking once per turn, pay 1, set this character as active. Activate main once per turn, pay 2, set this character as active. So he's what we're ramping into. He gets basically 3 attacks. We just have to make sure when we deploy him, since he will be coming in rested, we can protect him to be able to get him to ready up. So up next we have a Odyssey slash Straw Hat Crew with Usopp, 4-drop 5,000 power, 1k counter. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters, draw 2 and then trash 2. So this is a nice filter option. He's a 4 or 5 body. Worst case, he's a 1k counter. And he's searchable off both of our searchers. Up next, we have the 5-drop 6,000 power Sabo, who has Odyssey type with Revolutionary Army, 1,000 counter. When attacking, once per turn, if you have 3 or more rested characters in play, draw 1 card. So you're going to want to make sure before you attack with him that you have at least 2 rested characters already rested. He will count himself as the 3rd when he attacks in order to get that card draw. 5/6, so decent body. Up next we have Sanji with the Odyssey slash Straw Hat Crew. 5-drop 6,000 power, 1k counter. He has a neat little ability for recursion. On KO, you may put the top or bottom card of your life into your hand to play up to 1 cost 4 lower character with the Odyssey or the Straw Hat Crew type from your trash into play as rested. So he's a good target. He really don't value him too much if they're going after him while he's rested, as long as we have something in the graveyard to replace it. But I mean, he's a 5/6, so up next we have a couple blockers here. We have the Don Quixote do Flamingo, Odyssey slash 7 Warlord slash Don Quixote Pirates. 5-drop 6,000 power, counter 1k. He has blocker, and at the end of your turn, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, set this character as active, including himself, so you can swing with him, and then he will restand at the end as long as you have 2 or more rested characters. So far, all the cards that we've showed are going to be 4 ofs in the deck. So up next, we have 4 of the Don Quixote Rosinati, Odyssey, Navy, and Don Quixote Pirates. He's a 3-drop, 4,000 power with 1,000 counter. He has blocker as well. And when opponent attack once per turn, set this character as active. So he comes in rested, which is alright because when they do their attack, he gets readied. Now, they can target him as their initial attack as well, so just keep that in mind. Because he does come in play rested, and he only triggers to ready when they attack. So if their first attack targets him, it's a legal target, so. Alright, up next we have 4 of our Porcus D Ace, the Odyssey slash Whitebeard Pirate, a 5-drop 5,000 power character with 2,000 counter. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, rest up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower character. It's a tech choice, but it's also a 2k at worst. Sometimes you need to get that 5-drop blocker rested. for you to get through. Good card overall, searchable with our Odyssey Searcher. Here we have the Monkey D. Luffy, Odyssey Supernova Straw Hat Crew, 4 of. 5 drop, 6,000 power with 1k counter. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters, choose up to one of your opponent's cost 6 or lower characters, or up to one of your opponent's Dawn and rest it. Like I said, a lot of these characters are 5/6s, so that's kind of cool. Demanding a 2k out of your opponent. But yeah, overall, he's searchable by both of our searchers. He's a 5/6. A lot of these on plays, they want more rested. Don't be afraid to deploy these guys if you don't meet the requirements. I mean, a 5/6 body for 3 is still good. Up next, we have Lim. She is our Odyssey Searcher for the deck. She's a 3 drop, 5,000 power character with no counter. But on play, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with the Odyssey type other than Lim, and put it in your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. She has another effect where end of your turn, if you have 3 or more rested characters in play, set this character as active. I know most of the time it's going to be tempted to deploy her early to get a card, but it's okay to hold off on her until you've already established a board. And so you could try to get her to be active so she's not being just taken out. Up next, we have the 6 drop, 6,000 power, 2k counter Sanji with the Straw Hat type. While you have 2 or more fewer Dawn cards than your opponent in your hand, this card costs 3 less. We're a ramp deck, so that ability doesn't happen very often. Unless maybe you're going against a Luffy that hit the 10 drop Luffy and Dawn minus 10. Then you might. But even then, yeah, it's still not going to work because you have to. Yeah, it's just basically a 2k in hand. It has blocker. We all know this card. It's from OP07. It's a good card. Searchable off of our last searcher of the deck, Trafalgar Law. 4 of, 1 drop, 2k counter. Or 1 drop, 2,000 power, 1k counter. He has the Heart Pirates type. On play, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 cost 2 or greater card with the Straw Hat Crew or the Heart Pirate type and put it in your hand. Then place the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. Most of us are familiar with this one. Luffy runs it. It's a good searcher. It's a nice turn. If you play it turn 1 and then your turn 2, you can put the 3 Dawn on it if you need to and swing 5 and 5, but it's a searcher. Our last card of the deck is the Gamma Knife it's a Heart Pirate, so it is searchable off the law. We're only running 2 of these. It's a 2 drop event. It has main Dawn minus 1. Give up to one of your opponent's characters power minus 5,000. With all these 10 drop Shanks in the meta and the top end of yellow being just huge bodies, that minus 5,000 is going to come in handy to be able to help clear a threat without a lot of Dawn commitment. Now, this is the list that I am running currently with the videos that I'll be putting up alongside this deck tech. But let's take a look at some of the other Odyssey cards from OP09 and some of the promos that we're going to be getting in the future. So, Audio is Odyssey, 9 drop, 9,000 power, no counter. So this is like if you don't have the Zoros, you can run this one in spot or any mixture between Audio and Zoro. Like they kind of both fill the same role. They're just your top end that we're ramping to. But it has an on play if your leader has the Odyssey type, set up to 3 of your Dawn active. I like that. It's basically you're gonna have to deploy it either way, just like Zoro. So it fills the same spot, but you're gonna get 3 of your Dawn back. And then opponent attack once per turn, you can rest one of your Dawn to give up to one of your leader or characters 2,000 power for the battle. So you can essentially turn an open Dawn into a 2k counter for the turn. So I do like that one. So we are running the 4 of the Usopp. Then we have Crocodile. It has the Odyssey type. 4 drop, 5,000 power, 1k counter. If your leader has the Odyssey type, this character cannot be KO'd in battles by leaders. I didn't think this card was needed for the deck. So I just kind of passed on it. So up next we have the 6 drop 7,000 power Sakazuki with the Odyssey type slash Navy. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, you can KO up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower characters. He doesn't have a counter, but he is a 6/7. But we already are running some cards without counter, and a lot of our cards only have 1K. So I didn't want to like cut us too short with the amount of counter power we had. But I mean, this is an option for like a mid game threat. So we already running the Savos, the Sanjis. I like this one, Tony Chopper, Odyssey, Straw Hat, so double searchable. 3 drop, 4,000 power. He has a 1K counter. And at the end of the turn, you can set up to one of your Odyssey type characters with a cost 4 or less as active. So the reason I'm not running him is because if you look through our deck, a lot of our cards are 5. Like they're 5s. You know what I mean? We do have some 4. We have a couple, but like we have a lot of 5s because we want to maximize Lim's ability to the like fullest potential. But this card is good. I run it in another deck and I like it. So this one, Trafalgar Law, Odyssey, and Heart Pirates, along with Supernova. So it is. If this is something you were interested in, it is searchable off of Lim and our Law. So that's kind of cool. It's a 3 drop, 4,000 power, 1K counter on play. You may return one of your characters to your hand. It doesn't have a requirement what character you return. To play up to 1 cost 3 or lower Odyssey type character other than Law from your hand. So the only targets that it would hit is Lim and Rosinati right now. So we opted to not do that, but it is an option. It is double searchable from our searchers, so you know. So we already running the Doflamingos and the Rosinatis. So we have the 4 drop 5,000 power Nico Robin with the Odyssey Straw Hat Crew, so double searchable. 1K counter on play. If you have 2 or more rested characters in play, until the end of your opponent's next turn, all your characters with the Odyssey or Straw Hat type crew cannot be KO'd by effects. So if you have a lot of like Blackbeard, I don't know Blackbeard, you might have to catch them where they didn't use their ability. But like Lucci, Smoker, if you have a lot of that in your meta, this might be a good tech card over. I would probably swap it over the Usopp for that can't be KO'd effect protection. So I mean that's an option there. We're already running the Aces, the Porca or the Luffy's. We're running the Lim. Rob Lucci here, Odyssey. He's just a 4/6 vanilla with a 1K counter. Uh, yeah, if you ever wanted to add him, I would probably like Usopp is probably, in my opinion, the one of the weakest cards in the deck. The filtering is nice, but we have like 8 searchers, so and we have a little bit of recursion. So I don't know. I mean, it's okay if you want a 4/6 body, maybe. So this one here we don't have access to yet. It comes out in OP10. It's a 5 drop 6,000 power Draco Mihawk with counter plus 1,000. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters, set up to one of your cost 5 or lower Odyssey type characters as active. This would probably work really well in the deck when we get access to it in OP10. It's a 5/6, so easily, maybe adjust some numbers around some of the 1Ks, maybe just trimming them down a little bit, like probably a Sanji, a Luffy, a Usopp or 2. Just be able to get that, being able to ready your stuff because that makes a big difference when all your characters are coming in rested, and if you have abilities that can ready your stuff, it'll help protect it to the next turn when you can actually start utilizing them. So we don't have access to this yet either. It's a promo. It's an audio promo. Odyssey type, 4 drop 5,000 power. It's a 2K for the deck, so definitely a consideration. If you have 2 or more Odyssey type rested characters, he gains 1,000 power. So if you do have to deploy him as a 4/5 and you got some rested characters, he'll become a 6K. Here we have another promo Lim, 2 drop, 0 power, 1K counter blocker. End of your turn. If you have 2 or more Odyssey type rested characters, set this as active. I don't know if I I kind of like the Rosinati better than this one, but I mean I guess it's just preference because this is a guaranteed like active as far as when they go to attack. And this is you have to have 2 rested at the end of your turn to set it as active. And it's a 2-drop, so it's not going to take much to get rid of it with all the KO effects. So we have some events here for Odyssey that I haven't really tested out yet. It's a 1-drop. It's called Gum Gum Quattro Mono Jet Cross Shock Bazooka. Okay. Double searchable with the Odyssey Straw Hat Crew archetype. Has counter if your leader has the Odyssey type and you have 2 or more rested characters in play. Up to one of your leader or characters gain 2,000 power for this turn. Has a trigger to KO up to one of your opponent's rested cost 4 or lower characters. I personally am not a big fan of counters that are reliant on condition. If I'm running events for counter, I want to make sure I can use that counter when I need it, not have to meet conditions to do so. Now, if it was just if your leader was Odyssey, it gets 2,000 power, and then if you have 2 or more rested, give it an additional 1,000 power. Like that card would be awesome. So here we have Thunder Lance, Flip Pound, Phoenix Shot, double searchable with the Odyssey Straw Hat. 3-drop event. Main, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or lower characters. This isn't a bad event. With all of our characters coming in rested, we could easily use this event with very little minimum setup. And it has trigger rest up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or lower characters. So, and last one that we're going to talk about is Soul Frankie Swing Arm Boxing Solid. Odyssey / Straw Hat. So double searchable event. 1-drop counter up to one of your leaders or characters gain 2,000 power during this turn. See, this one's fine because you're automatically getting something when you use it. Then, if your leader has the Odyssey type and you have 2 or more rested characters, you get to set up to 2 of your characters as active. This one's not bad, and it has a trigger to rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost 4 or less. Yeah, I don't mind this event. Like I said, I haven't really tested much of the events. But as far as like immediate changes that I would consider, like I said, meta dependent. If you're going against a lot of like black decks, consider Nico Robin over the Usopp. If you don't have the Zoros and you have the audio, the Deo, whatever it's called, I'm assuming these are a lot cheaper than the Zoros. I know EVO1, some of the card prices for those are going up. So if you don't have the Sanji 2K, there's really not much of a on theme, but there's other Straw Hat 2Ks, so that you could easily slot in its place. Or if you have access to this promo, I don't know when it's coming out, but if once you get access to that promo, it'd be an easy swap out. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys think, and make sure you guys like, subscribe, and I'll be putting out some gameplay videos later on alongside this. So, all right, in the next one.